So after a great career, which is still continuing in many different ways, what would you say your greatest setback was, and how did you deal with it?
The greatest setback, I think, and there have been a number of setbacks along the way, but I think the biggest one was getting fired by McDonald's in 1981 after 10 years of really great advertising. And I think most people acknowledge that this was pattern-breaking stuff. They called it lifestyle advertising in the day. And instead of selling the hamburger, we were selling the experience. And we contributed really greatly to McDonald's growth. And I didn't see it coming. And we were fired after 10 years. And the reason given was they thought that we were a good agency for their adolescents, but now they were grown up and they needed a bigger agency. That really wasn't the reason, but that was the rationale they gave us. That was a setback because at that time I was president of what was then Needham, Harper and Steers. McDonald's represented 2/3 of our billing. So how to figure out how to go tell the agency what happened, why it happened, and so forth. And I got the phone call on a Sunday morning. It was one of my daughter's first birthday, and we had the birthday candle lit, and the phone rings, and at the same time we were entertaining clients from General Mills for the weekend. Now I get the call, we're fired from McDonald's. Okay, so how do I celebrate the birthday? How do I entertain the General Mills clients? And what do I say to the agency the next day? That was the biggest setback.
So how did you get through that? What kept you going, the positive attitude? What did you say to the agencies?
Well, first of all, I felt that it wasn't fair. And so I resolved that we would win McDonald's back. The following morning, I called the CEO of McDonald's, and I said, you know, I'm calling you, Fred, because you know, you and I didn't talk about this. And he said, look, I'm sorry this happened, but he said, you know, I've delegated responsibility to the marketing people, and they've been thinking about this for a long time, so I had to go with them. I said, well, I understand. I didn't call you to protest. I called you to tell you that you've just gone overnight from being our biggest, most important client to our biggest, most important new business prospect. And I vowed that we would not accept any of McDonald's competitors. We would steadfastly go to win it back. Then, of course, I had to gather the troops and tell them this bad news. And of course, they were shocked. Jaws were dropping. But I said, no one loses their job. You know, they've given us 90 days notice. We will do the best work we've ever done for them in the next 90 days. And meanwhile, our new business teams will be out there desperately working to replace this billing before the 90 days are up. And there will be no jobs lost. And in the nick of time, we won our first assignment from, well, we won a big assignment from Anheuser-Busch. And it pretty much replaced the billing, so I could keep my promise.
Wow, it's almost unheard of in today's day and age that nobody...
So for many years, it took me longer than I thought. And in the meanwhile, I was offered another fast food account with no pitch, because the head of that company said, look, I've watched your work. This is the kind of work we need for our company. I said, but I can't take it. He said, why? I said, because we're still loyal to McDonald's. He said, but they fired you. I said, I know, but we didn't fire them. So it took me longer, but we got it back.
You did get it back.
Yeah,
how much longer?
Well, it actually took, you know, every year we would bring them 2 or 3 big ideas. And we were still working for some of the local co-ops. And so we kept trying to show them that we had a really good understanding of their business and that we needed to be brought back. And 10 years later, the guy who fired me called me and said, could you come to Chicago? I'd like to have dinner. And he booked a dinner in the Drake Hotel, which was the place where they had originally hired us in 1971. And he said, we think maybe we need a second agency, and would you guys be willing to take on our promotional assignments? Yes, because I knew with a foot in the door. And then it took until 1997. They gave us a chance to compete, and we won it.
Won it back. Boy, that's a story of persistence.
It is, and persistence is the reason. Passion, persistence. Why, you know, my board was not with me at first. You know, I mean, why would you turn down a piece of business? You know, we're never going to get McDonald's back. They fired us. But there was, to me, it was sort of a sense of injustice. I learned a lot. We had been concentrating more on the work probably than on the relationship. And that was a lesson well learned. Good relationships beat good work every time. And but I felt that it wasn't fair, and it needed to be righted.
Wow.
But persistence is key.